Hey guys, I wanted to make a quick video reviewing some exponent rules and simplifying radicals. So I'm going to need you to grab a piece of paper so you can participate along with me. I just want to review some of this stuff before we get much further into Chapter 2 or Unit 2, just to spend a little bit more time on some Unit 1 stuff. So grab a piece of paper and follow along. Thanks. Now, I know this can seem a little overwhelming, but this is actually a very helpful graphic organizer for the properties of exponents, as it's titled here, properties of exponents. It really breaks it down into three categories. There's multiplication properties, there's division properties, and then there's the zero and negative exponents. Now, these are all on your notes from previous lessons in Unit 1, but it all puts it in one spot here, hopefully with some examples even, so maybe that's helpful. If I remember, I will put a blank copy of this graphic organizer for you to be able to write on yourself, linked to this video somewhere, so that will be optional for you. So these are all things that you know. So the multiplication property, when you're multiplying the same base, you add the exponents. When you're raising a power to another power, you multiply the exponent, so x squared to the fifth power. And when you have a grouping, when you have a product, this multiplication here, taken to another power, you distribute, which would end up multiplying those exponents. But the biggest problem that I've been seeing when you guys were doing these is that you forgot that this 2 here would also need to be cubed. So in this case, that would be 8. But x squared cubed is x to the 6th. Y to the 5th cubed is y to the 15th, using the multiplying exponents rules here. Division properties, there are only 2 of them. Whenever you are dividing, you subtract the exponents. So 13 minus 2 is 11. And when you have a quotient, when you have a division inside parentheses taken to a power, you're still distributing that exponent. It just makes sure you're going to the top and to the bottom. So these two properties down here are very similar to each other. Last two, the zero property, anything to the 0 power is 1 all day, every day. Anything to the 0 power is 1. And how we deal with negative exponents, my crew, we talked about if the negative exponent is on the top, you move it to the bottom. If the negative exponent is on the bottom, you move it to the top. So this has a -5 right here that is currently up top, because if I wanted to make it a fraction, the over 1 would go on the bottom there. So the thing is that you need to keep in mind here is that the only thing that's going to come to the bottom is the y. The 2 is going to stay up top, and because I'm not dealing with the x to the 0 right now, I'm going to leave that x to the 0 there and have that be cubed. So this is not the final answer for this problem at all, but all I did was deal with that y to the -5th. To make it positive, since it's negative up top, I have to move it to the bottom and make that exponent positive. Okay, let's go ahead and do a couple problems together. I'm going to try to move kind of quickly here. This first problem with the 2 to the 5th power divided by 2 to the -9th power, again, you have a couple options because that is negative. We could deal with that negative. However, this is a division problem, so I'm just going to deal with the division by subtracting the exponents. So it's 5 minus -9. Well, subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding a positive. So this is just 2 to the 14th. And notice that this is now a positive exponent, so I don't have to worry about any negative exponents at all, moving anything up or down. So because I dealt with the division first in this example, I did not have to deal with any negatives in the end. The second one here with the 5s, however, if I follow the same steps and deal with the division, which means I will subtract the exponents, I'm going to get 5 to the -9th. Well, that is going to be over 1. Like when I do this subtraction, it brings the 2 up. Like I no longer have a fraction here because I brought this 5 squared up to the top with this subtraction. That's really what you're doing here. So my -5 to the -9 is already up top. So in order for it to have a positive exponent in my final answer, it needs to come to the bottom, and now the 1 is up top, and the 1 is only up top not because it flipped. The 1 is up top because there's nothing else up top with it. All right, 2 more. This one up top with the y is a power to a power, so that means I will multiply the 4 times the -6. That's going to give me a -24. Now I will deal with that negative exponent. It is over 1. So my final answer will be 1 over y to the positive 24th. Again, because the negative exponent is up top of the fraction, I need to move it down to make it positive. This next one, both of these are starting with negative exponents, but I'm going to deal with this multiplication first by adding the exponents. That way I don't have so many fractions to deal with in one time. So this will be a negative 3 plus negative 5, because that's how we multiply the same base. So that would be 4 to the negative 8th, which again is over 1. So in order to make it a positive 8, it has to be 4 over 8. Sorry, 4 to the 8th power is going to be in the denominator. So it started in the numerator up top. In order to be made positive, I had to move it to the bottom. Final two here. With our a's in this expression, we're going to multiply these numbers. 5 times 2, because it is a power to a power. So I will make that a to the 10th, b to the negative 20th. Now, I still have a negative exponent here with the b, so I need to make that over 1. Common mistake is for you guys to move the whole thing down. That's not what we want to have happen here. We are only going to move down what has the negative exponent, which in this case is the b. That's the only thing that's going to come down to the bottom. So a to the 10th is happy and positive up top. It's going to stay happy and positive up top. B is very negative up top, so it needs to be moved down to the bottom to make it positive. And the next problem is really the exact same. I just started with the negative exponent in the bottom because we hadn't seen that yet. So still multiplying 5 times 2. This is a to the 10th still. And the b to the negative 20, now it's on the bottom, but it is negative on the bottom. So in order for that to be made positive, it has to come up. So final answer for this would be a to the 10th, b to the 20th. I do not need to write over 1. I do not need to write over 1 because there's no fraction, so it's just a to the 10th, b to the 20th. So that's going to conclude our review for our exponent rules. I know it was very quick and brief. Not a whole lot of examples here, but you guys had done a bunch before, so make sure you're going back over those other notes and practice problems if you need to. All right, now it's time to take a look at simplifying square roots, so simplifying the radicals. Started listing here the perfect squares, which remember is like 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, 6 times 6. So these perfect squares are results of taking an integer, even -1 times -1, -2 times -2, -3 times -3, taking an integer and multiplying by itself, and these are the perfect squares. Now obviously they go on forever as long as the integers do, but these are just the first couple. So when it comes to simplifying square roots, you really have like 2 options, and we're going to start with one that may not be what we talked about originally in the lesson, just as an option. So if we're trying to simplify the square root of 45, for example, the greatest perfect square in 45 is 9, and that comes from the fact that 45 fits in here somewhere. It's not divisible by 36, it's not divisible by 25 or 16, it's only divisible by 9, not even 4 or 1. So 9 is the greatest number that 45, the greatest perfect square that 45 is divisible by. So 9 is the greatest factor. So if you break down 45 into 9 times 5, 9 being that perfect square is important because 9, the square root of 9 is 3. So you can simplify the square root of 9. Okay, so again, if you take the number underneath the radical, find where it is in here somewhere, okay, and realize, okay, well, the 45 is right here. Which of these numbers below it is it divisible by? That can help you simplify your radical by finding that greatest perfect square. That's option 1. Option 2, same problem, is to take the 45 and to break it down into factors. Just do a factor tree. So 45 is 5 times 9. Let's see you don't realize that 9 is a perfect square, so you keep going. So 9 is 3 times 3. Well, there's a pair of 3's, so that comes out. And this is really what we did in class. So 5 times 3 times 3, that's the bottom of the tree. 5 times 3 times 3, whatever there is 2 of comes out. The 5 is left over. There's no 5 to circle a pair with, so that stays underneath. So 5 stays underneath because there's no pair. The 3 comes out because there is a pair. Those are your two options for methods to solve, to factor, to simplify the square roots. Okay, so I'm going to do the square root of 98, and I'm going to go ahead and use both methods, and I'm going to explain both methods as I go. So this one example is going to be a little bit longer here. So 98, if I look at my list of perfect squares up here, 98 falls in here. So I'm just going to make a quick mark here. 98 is in here. Okay, somewhere is where 98 is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my calculator, which of these numbers below there, which of the numbers below there divide evenly into 98. All right, so I took my calculator and I figured out that the biggest one of these numbers, and actually the only number that 98 is divisible by evenly, is 49. So I'm going to break the 98 down into the square root of 49 times whatever that other number is, that other factor is that it divides evenly into, which happens to be 2. So again, what I did in my calculator was 98 divided by 49, and I got 2. That's where these numbers are coming from. I chose 49 because I was using these numbers here, and 49 is the only one that worked. Now, the nice thing about that working is that the square root of 49 is 7, and you can use your calculator for that too. And I know that it's 7. I know that it will be a perfect number because that's what these numbers represent. All of these numbers are perfect squares, so when you type in the square root of 49, it will give you a nice whole number. So the square root of 98 simplified is 7 square roots of 2. Now, the second option to doing this is to factor tree. Now, with this particular example, it's not going to end up being that different. A factor tree, we're breaking it down, and I always start with the fact like, okay, if it's even, I'm going to divide by 2. Well, 98 divided by 2 just happens to be 49. Now, you do have to have some sort of strength in your multiplication facts to remember that 49 is 7 times 7. So because there's a pair of 7s, we circle that pair of 7s, and that comes outside of the radical. This 2 is left over, so it stays on the inside of the radical. If there's ever a time where you're circling more than one number, those get multiplied outside. If there's ever a time where you're left with more than one number, those get multiplied on the inside. Okay, so this was a big breakdown of your two options for simplifying square roots. So with the square root of 44, using the perfect squares, square root of 44 is in here somewhere. The biggest one of these numbers that 44 is divisible by is 4. So the square root of 4 times the square root of 11. Square root of 4 is 2. So we just simplify that into 2. 2 square root of 11 is the final simplified answer. Using the factor tree, I always start with my even numbers. 2 times 22. The 22 breaks down into 2 times 11. Here's my pair of 2's that get circled, so they're outside of the radical. The 11 is left over underneath the radical. Simplifying the square root of 75. 75 falls in here. The biggest one of these numbers that it's divisible by is 25. So the square root of 25 times the square root of 3, because 25 times 3 is 75. Square root of 25 is 5, so that simplifies down. 5 square roots of 3. Coming with the factor tree, I did this one a little bit differently than what I would normally have done it, but I wanted to show, okay, well, it ends in a 5, so it's definitely divisible by 5. So I do 75 divided by 5 in my calculator, and I get 15. We're familiar enough with 15 that that is 3 times 5. So what I want you to realize here is that even though the 5s aren't next to each other, they're still at the bottom of the trees, and so that does count as a pair that needs to come out. So these 5s are going to come out, and there's still the 3 left over that's going to stay underneath the radical. So again, we're getting the same answer here, just using two different methods to get there. So with the square root of 72, our final example, 72 falls in here somewhere. The numbers that it's divisible by underneath, the biggest one it's divisible by is 36. So 36 times 2, square root of 36 times the square root of 2 is equal to the square root of 72, but the square root of 36 is 6. So we're done. So if you're familiar with your perfect squares, this can be a very fast method to simplifying square roots. Factor tree is consistent and it works every single time, but sometimes it can be a little longer depending on the size of the number that you're trying to factor. So in this case, 72, if you do it the whole way down to your prime numbers, you end up with all these 3 2's and 2 3's. So simplifying that, square roots, well, here's a pair of 3's, so that comes out. Here's a pair of 2's, so that also comes out. Remember, if you have more than one number that comes out, they get multiplied. And then underneath the radical is just that lonely 2. Remember, the 36, the 18, and the 9 are not the bottom of the tree. It's these 2's and 3's that I'm looking at here. So in order to finally simplify this, we take this 3 times 2 and get 6 square roots of 2. And just a reminder that if you are underlining or realizing that there's more than one number that doesn't have a pair, like let's say there was another 3 here, or maybe there was a 5 here, those numbers get multiplied underneath the radical the same way these pairs are getting multiplied outside of the radical. Okay, so that was your quick overview on exponent rules and simplifying radicals. I know the video was a little long, but hopefully it's helpful to those of you that need the help with the exponents and the simplifying radicals. They're both useful tools, especially as you continue on with your math classes at the high school. So if you have any questions, please let us know and make sure you get that ALEKS assignment done. Thanks.